You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
That's how we starting.
Happy Thursday, y'all.
Happy Thursday.
I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob. I'm Mike.
And we're the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about
How we game.
how we game.
There you go.
There's that DJ horn.
Got it on automatic now.
Happy Thursday, everyone. It is call-in show Thursday, live call-in show where we talk to you about what you've been up to. In all honesty, not a lot of topics for tonight.
No, we're leaving it pretty open tonight.
It's the first week of summer. Memorial Day is past. The kids are finally out of school. It was a long weekend.
Yep.
Leaving a short work week.
Yes.
So it's very compressed amount of stuff you got to get done.
5 days and 4.
I feel like that's what it is. Like a holiday really isn't a holiday.
No, you just do more
in the
holidays.
claims industry where the three of us are.
Yeah.
Never.
Right. You take a day off, it's all just waiting for you the next day.
Yeah. So you get 4 10-hour days instead of 5 8-hour days.
And every phone call that you would have gotten on the day off is waiting for you as a voicemail.
Oh, yeah.
So you're still talking to the same amount of people, working the same amount of claims. You just got to figure out how to compress it into a shorter week. So for those purposes, I don't think any gaming got done here at House Cabrera.
No, not at all.
What about you, Rob?
I got a few things in. I know I've been touting. I posted it up on the interwebs and on the Discord that I finally played. I wanted to say Terraforming Mars. I was going to say I finally played Terraforming Mars. No, the Terraforming Mars similar underwater cities. And I say similar just because for years now I've heard the comparison. Underwater cities is like Terraforming Mars, but just a little different. I'm going to tell you, we were just talking a little bit before the show. I found very few similarities. There's a little bit going on that gave me some Terraforming Mars feel, but I'm going to put this on a whole nother level. I was just telling Mike right before we came on that we were playing with the expansion. I might be, but I think it is the only expansion. We were playing with the expansion. It was my first time. Yeah, my first time ever. And so maybe that had a little bit to do with the complexity, but I would put this a full notch ahead of Terraforming Mars. I think it's another whole level of complexity. It's a little more thinky, a little more combo-y as far as you're not comboing so much in your tableau because you are building a little tableau. You have a couple of cards you can tap. You have a couple of cards that are ongoing abilities, but it's more comboing when you are taking your actions. You choose certain areas to put your little submarine on the board or your little token on the board, and there's 3 different colored zones. And when you go into one of those zones, you also have a hand of cards. Oh, I say hand of cards. It's typically 3 cards in your hand to choose from, and if you choose, there's certain actions that are printed on the board. There's certain abilities or actions that are printed on your cards. And if you use a red submarine to go to a red board space to do the red board action, and you can also play a red card out of your hand, you get to do both what's on the board and on your card. But if you cross the streams, if you go upstream against the wrong channel, the wrong
streams.
Yeah, exactly. Never cross the streams. If I go to a red space and either I don't have a red card in my hand or the red card I have I don't want to play and I play the green card, then I only get to do the board action of the red. I don't get to I still have to discard a card from my hand, but if it doesn't match colors, then I'm only getting half the efficiency. I'm only doing half the stuff. And so that comboed up with you got your personal play area, your personal dual layered mats, which were nice with the upgrade. They came with the expansion. They came with these dual layered inset player boards.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, those are really nice. But you're doing that. You're building this little underwater city, these little tunnels and these domes and little factories to get resources. The comboiness of it is fun, and that gave me some similar feels to Terraforming Mars. But I enjoyed the experience. I got beat pretty soundly, which shouldn't be too surprising, I guess. First time. The other 2 had played several times before, even though I think both of them had been a little while because we spent a decent amount of time in the rule book at the beginning trying to remember things and set things up. But I appreciate James Odak, for teaching. It was a good time. He supplied the place, he supplied the pizza, and then Alex brought the game. And so I appreciate Alex bringing the game and making it available. But it was a good time. I enjoyed it. I do look forward to playing again. I will definitely play again. I wasn't quite ready for the weight of it. Again, I was going in expecting Terraforming Mars or something in that neighborhood, and in my opinion, it was another full step more than that. But really,
it is listed in BGG as a 3.59 out of 5.
Okay.
It is a medium heavy.
Okay, all right. It felt medium heavy. It was certainly wasn't light, and I'd put it a good step above medium. Curious, any idea what Terraforming Mars is? I can look that up real quick too.
While you're looking that up, I was going to say, the one time I played it, which was years ago, I don't remember it being even in my mind like this is similar to Terraforming Mars. I don't know why people are making that as. Maybe that's the same reason why people would do the Arnak Dune associate. I don't know, but I didn't get those feels when I played it.
Yeah.
3.26 for Terraforming Mars.
Okay, so not a huge
there
difference.
You go.
Yeah, but it is definitely a little heavier. So, I agree with that.
Underwater Cities, designed by Vladimir Suchi.
Sushi game,
Yep.
yes.
Published by Delicious Games.
That's so nice.
Quite a few different publishers, actually.
Yeah, there was.
But Delicious is Portal Games, Pegasus Spiel.
Rio Grande.
Wow, Rio Grande. Yeah,
Everybody's in on that one.
Everybody's been in on this one.
It was ranked 74 all time on the BGG list when I looked at it the other day. So
43 all time right now.
43 all time. Oh,
Yeah, with 34 under strategy.
Oh wow, okay.
That's pretty high for a game
Yeah.
I've never even thought of playing.
Okay, yeah, must be misremembering, but yeah.
1 to 4 players, 150 minutes in time.
It's
So
the same developer Gaia Project, right? He's the same guy that did Gaia Project.
Sushi,
and,
did he do Gaia?
Praga, Kaput Regni, Pulsar, Woodcraft, Last Will, Messina. Those are the top ones listed here.
He's got a
maybe
lot.
it isn't. I don't know why I was
Yeah.
thinking that.
He's done a lot of them, but yeah, I don't think so. But yeah,
What do I
I
know?
don't think I've ever played a Vladimir Suchi game,
maybe not. He's a Euro guy.
and that's probably why.
Yeah,
That-
they're
that
Euro
speaks.
combo Euro games, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I think you'd probably like it. I don't know. Do you want your Terraforming Mars a step more complicated, or are you good with Terraforming Mars?
I think I'm good with Terraforming Mars.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I could understand that. So, yeah, it's definitely a little bit more thinky than Terraforming Mars, a little bit more going on. And then, again, with that, the expansion, it adds another whole sideboard. It adds a few more spaces on your main board that you're trying to get to first, to move tokens from your main board to your sideboard, to take advantages over there, take bonuses over there, I should say. But, yeah, and I understand it adds just more cards. It adds more, a few more stuff in the game. Yeah. But I liked it. I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. Yeah. How about you,
Sweet.
Mike? You been playing anything recently?
The only thing I played was with you and Wayne, and of course Carlos bailed on us.
That's right. I forgot. Federation.
Federation.
Federation on
overwhelming.
BGA.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call it overwhelming. What do you think, Rob, as far as complexity? Granted, you'll have to excuse some of my loniness with teaching of the rules, but
Yeah. Federation, I would be, if I had to put it on a scale again, I would put it somewhere in the neighborhood of Terraforming Mars. To me, it wasn't quite Underwater Cities.
no,
So I think close to,
definitely not. Yeah.
yeah, close to Terraforming Mars. It's not super complicated, but the first time through, again, it's a game that you definitely, which is the same with Underwater Cities. There is a decent amount of iconography, and you've got to get used to the iconography because there's a lot in that isn't similar to other games. And then it's order of operations in Federation 2 is the other big thing. You got to get used to this is what triggers that. This is what makes that happen. So you need to do this first. So it's a lot of pre-planning, a lot of thinking. All right, I got to do this to make, to get to that, to then add over here, to move on this board, to get that bonus. So that there is some good combo-y goodness in this one, Federation. But Mike's played it a few times, so he can probably explain it way better than I can.
Yeah, so Federation, 1 to 4 players, person with the most points at the end of the game, winner, 5 rounds, and you're basically, I forget exactly what the thematics of it are, but they're...
Who cares?
Who cares? You are trying to work your way into whatever this... there's 5 planets involved. Each planet does a different thing, and there's lots of tracks, and there's voting and funding of projects, and I like it because it's very multi-leveled per round, as well as getting to the end of the game. So each round you're putting out your ambassadors that you are either voting on one side or the other. There's a lot more to it, but this is a very high level You're either voting on the left or right side for which law is going to be put into place. And basically, the law is one of the 5 planets. You are going to get 2 points for every notch you're up on the track for that particular planet. So each planet will come up twice every game. And that's one way of getting points throughout the game. So there's the voting part of it, and then there's the funding part of it. So there's 3 rows and 3 columns per side. And each column will have a project that you're funding. So when you put your ambassador out, you can either put on the voting side or the funding side, which will bump up the project at the top of that column. So as you're moving up these tracks on each planet, you are gaining things as you're going through the game. And at the end of every round, each row, whoever has the most votes per row is going to get points based on how far up one of the tracks are that you are, as far as like being able to do extra missions, special missions. And then whichever side gets the most votes, that law will be passed, and then you'll get points from that. But the whole thing about the projects being funded is if you are the furthest up on a track for the project that is funded, that's where like a lot of points come in towards the end of the game. But if that project doesn't fund, you're not getting any points for that particular planet or that particular thing that you're trying to fund. So I think Rob and Wayne started realizing like round 3rd or 4th round, you're like, this project's going to need a little bit more funding if we're going to get it to fund. And then it's like, well, if you can help me fund this one, we'll work.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want to fund that because Wayne's way too far up on that track. And there's a lot of back and forth going on with that. But anyway, go ahead.
I'd say
Go
a
ahead,
little
Rob.
bit of negotiation in this. I don't typically like negotiation games. I wouldn't say this one's negotiation heavy, but
It isn't. Yeah.
Yeah. There's definitely hints of, we need to stop him from doing the thing. So we need to decentivize that by maybe us push something else and show Wayne he's not going to get the support that he needs over there. So maybe he's going to shift gears. So there's some subtle negotiation, some subtle, some pushing around there. But yeah.
But there's still ways, even if you can't talk the others into going your direction, you can still force the funding for yourself. It's just going to take a little bit more work on your side, but it's not impossible to not fund something if others aren't involved with it. So,
Right, and the hard part about that is because if you are going to try to fund something yourself, you're probably going to have to make some suboptimal decisions because you're by funding a project, you're limiting yourself to only a certain row of actions, and there's actions all over this board. And so if I really want to keep pushing this particular project, I'm going to only be able to take actions in that column, and that may not be the best thing for me from round to round. So you got to make some decisions. Yeah.
So all in all, though, Rob, I think you and Wayne agreed that you liked it, that you would play it again.
I liked it. I won, so I liked it quite a bit. That's always good for me. But I liked it quite a bit. I didn't really completely understand what was going on until about a quarter or maybe a third of the way through the game, and then it started clicking a little bit. So it's one of those, as always, you're like, oh, okay, now that I know, I'd like to try it again to see how much better I can do the next time, now that I understand how things combo and how things work off of each other. And we didn't even, like you say, that funding those projects at the top. I think you mentioned that again about halfway through the game, and then Wayne and I were like, oh yeah, that's right. We gotta, so it's not remembering everything, not knowing everything, all the buttons to push. Next play will be better. So I enjoyed it. I look forward to playing again.
Yeah, I'm actually might be getting that to the table tomorrow. I'm heading over to my friend Scott's place.
Nice.
And
have you played that one?
Played that
actual on the table yet?
Oh yeah, I've done that more than on BGA. I think I've played it on the table 3 or 4 times now.
And I'm going to say this is the first time I've ever recorded in my BG stats a non-actual live tabletop play of a game in my BG stats because, again, we were live, we played it there, we were voice chat.
That counts to me.
Yeah, it sounded like it felt like we were all in the same room playing together, and so I actually recorded it, not just because I won, but I just,
I know Board Game Hot Takes does a lot of their BGA games. It's what they focus on, and I have trouble with counting them as real plays.
I always have before, too.
If we're not actually playing them in a voice chat together,
right?
Negotiation, all that stuff.
Yep. So
Yep. You'll have to send me that play, Rob, out of your tracker because I forgot to add it to mine, and I'd like all the scores in there and have it count.
okay, after the show, remind me, and then you can walk me through how to do it because I'm a technological idiot. So you can tell me which buttons to push.
Yep.
But I'm going to duck out here for just a second. I'll be right back.
Yep.
I'll be here
I was
talking
just-
about my play. This week I got to play, thanks to Chris, our friend Chris from Texas. Let me get my BGG back up in front of me so I can have all my stats. I got to play Adrenaline. So Chris from, also known as Captain Gamer out of Texas, one of the callers, friend of the show, he brought up his son and him playing Adrenaline with the expansion. And that really just brought me back to, man, that was a good game. I enjoyed that game. Let me get that thing out. So there's a lot of feelings and emotions on this one, Mike, and folks at home, that came through this purchase that I did and the play of the game. So the first thing I did right during the show, at the end of the show last week, was buy the expansion, the DLC they call it, Adrenaline. Okay, so what's Adrenaline? Adrenaline's a board game designed by Philippe Nedek from Czech Games Edition, CGE, and it feels like a first-person shooter, like a real engine style shooter, Halo style shooter. You know, it's
Like a
1v.
deathmatch almost.
Yes, it's like a giant multiplayer deathmatch, 1v1v1v1, right?
Yep.
Everyone against each other. But it's and I've played games like this before. Frag, I think, is one that was done by Steve Jackson Games. Right? People have tried these things before, but they always come in with the war game mechanisms, the dice, the luck, right? Where this is very much Euro focused. You get weapons, you charge them up by grabbing resources, so different color cubes, and then you fire them off by playing them. They always hit, and they always do damage. So it's very Euro-centric in that way, right? So you're going to play them, you're gonna play the weapon, it's going to discharge, now you got to go run around and grab some cubes to be able to recharge them. And then the negative feelings that come across with most shoot 'em up games, war games, really aren't there, because it doesn't matter if you die. Right, your death really means nothing. All it does is on your next turn, you just spawn again with all your weapons in the same state they were in before, and you find someone else to kill. So like there's not as much negative feeling for getting shot.
You don't want to die because you're giving somebody points, but yeah, other than that.
Right, that's the worst piece, right? Someone's getting points for you dying. When you die, you trigger scoring based on who shot you and how many shots they put on you. So it's an area control game, except the area I'm trying to control is Mike's body.
Okay.
Hey now.
I'm trying to get shots on Mike
After 10.
so I can put more damage on him. If I put the most damage, I'm going to score the most points. Second player who put the second most damage is going to score the second most points, and so on and so on. Like, up to 5 players can put damage onto Mike. Right? So that's how we spread out that damage. However, once Mike dies, we cover up the highest scoring icon. So now the next time Mike dies and we score Mike, he is worth less points to everyone. So each time Mike dies,
a target the more I die, the less I become a target. I'm
Right.
less incentivized.
Eurocentric, right? So it incentivizes me going after someone who hasn't died as much as Mike because I'm
That's
going to
pretty
score
cool.
more points. It is. So for all those reasons, I'm like, okay, Chris brought the game up. I'm going to go buy the DLC, which what it adds now is team play,
Okay.
right? So it now adds a character, takes it to 6, and then it makes it team play. So all these feelings, I'm excited about making this purchase, about getting this game out. But then I start thinking, man, I've really been dying to get a good like shoot 'em up, multiplayer, fighting game. And I think I just dropped like a bill on Martin Wallace's one. Oh, right, Wildlands.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So like I was, and here's what bugs me, Mike. Here's the feeling, the emotions. Right. I spent all that time finding and buying Martin Wallace's version of a 1v1v1 multiplayer frag game on a board. Played it a couple times, I think 3, and then now I'm kind of reverting back to something that was already on my shelf that gives me the same feeling. So I'm like, should I have even spent the money to chase down Martin Wallace's game?
Well, it's not like you're never going to play it again. You know.
Correct. So it's just it's I should be shopping my shelves. Like if I want to play a
shopping
game,
your shelves.
This was a topic that was bound to come up tonight, but go ahead, Mike.
I should be
I see
shopping.
Brian Baru up there. Have you played that yet?
He
No.
has not. I've told
How
him
would you
he
like to send that to me?
needs to play that. You've played it, Mike?
I've played it once and I really enjoyed it.
Played it 3 times.
Trick
I like it.
taking
Yeah.
mechanism in there.
I like
There's
it.
a little, it's not trick taking
def-
heavy, but it
Definitely
does
not a
play
trick
a part
taker.
in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's definitely-
But
would
man, I
consider it a trick
really
taker.
enjoyed that game.
And I
How
think I
much do
brought
you
it
want
up
for
last
it?
week. I
We're
brought it
gonna
up last
wheel and
week that
deal here.
I moved everything from that room, you can't
Yep.
see, to this room. That meant I had to go through every game. I hadn't seen Adrenaline in years, right? So, like, had I remembered that I had Adrenaline, I'm like, I already have a Euro-style multiplayer, deathmatch style game. Like, why did I shop my own shelves? And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Rob's sitting in here barely.
Yeah, we crammed it in tonight.
Oh, is there crap all over the floor?
I'm surrounded by
now again?
stacks of games and shelving units. They're half put together, and a laser printer, and a
Carlos's
camera.
eyes went huge when I asked that question.
I expected to be like, okay, I'm gonna get it all in here. I'm gonna get it organized. It's gonna be good.
One weekend.
It's been 2 weeks now. I'm still very overwhelmed. Like, there's so much game
There's a lot of stuff.
that I'm like, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't even come in here.
First world problems. Surrounded by stacks of games. Yeah. Wah.
And then, so then, Dice Tower does their board game smorgasbord today,
Yeah.
and the main topic is buying and selling games.
Oh, yep.
And Tom's first thing is, don't get into buying games to collect them. It's, there's many other better things you can collect that take up less space and cost less money and can be turned around easier. And that's the tough part is, as much as I'd like to say, yes, there's a lot of these games I'd be willing to part with, the energy and effort required to part with them in a smart way is high,
Yeah.
right?
Depends on how you do
You
it.
already
but
got
yeah.
a buyer right here on the line, man. What
Mike's
do you want
trying
for
to buy
Brian
games
Baru
from you.
over there.
He doesn't want to, not the Brian Baru. Pick something else.
And it's not just that though, Mike. It's the energy and effort after that. Like,
Oh,
let's say I
let's
should-
put it. You don't put much effort into packing up games for shipping, so you can't use that as an excuse.
and well, see, I remember my first trade of a game. I traded a game on BGG, and I traded a copy of Civilization, Sid Meier's Civilization,
Sid Meier's Civilization.
for a copy of a war game, Command and Colors, Napoleonics.
Hold on, there you go.
Okay.
And I shipped him a copy of the game, and he sent me a picture of it and how it arrived. I thought I did a good job. I thought I did, but apparently it blew out the box. So he's like, "Hey, you got to compensate me some way."
Hell
And that was
yeah,
like,
man.
at that point, I'm like, "I'm not built. I'm not built for this." Now, Mike has sent me games.
Oh, yeah. Deluxe wrapped.
I swear to Bob, in that back room there behind Mike, which you can't see very well, I swear he's got boxes left over from
Bubble
Miniature
wrap.
Market.
Yep.
Right, because Miniature Market, they ship, and they ship well.
Not only Miniature Market, but Quartermaster Logistics also is a king of shipping.
Like the bubble wrap is like that thick, ply plastic. It's not the cheap bubble wrap from Amazon. And then the corners, they have these cardboard like L-shaped inserts that ride the
Gotta
corners.
protect them corners, man.
Apparently, I didn't.
Check them corners.
Blew out that box. Ended up losing money on that deal.
I think the reason why I'm so good at packing like that, one, I'm OCD, so I would
Oh, yeah.
prefer games to arrive to me the way that I pack them. But one of my first jobs was I worked at a place called
Pop copy.
oh man, what the hell was the something pottery? I can't remember. But anyway, they sold a lot of dinnerware type stuff, fine china, and a lot of people had stuff shipped, and I was in charge of the shipping. And it was like I shipped my first thing out and like half the stuff broke. And after that, I was like, okay, well, obviously I need to learn how to pack things. And I learned how to pack. And I pretty much guarantee everything's going to show up in one piece and not all over the place. So
Chad's asking, was it Pottery Barn?
no. Oh, Mr. Pottery. That's what
Mr.
it was.
Pottery.
It was like maybe a 3 or 4 store chain down in Miami when I used to live down there.
Well,
But,
Carlos, our first con experience with Mike was like, just throw it in the truck.
Oh my God.
Oh, that
Oh,
about.
man. Here comes that story again.
Oh, it keeps coming up. Yeah, we remember that.
It was a traumatic experience. We had to seek therapy after the way you looked at us. Like, listen, I don't have a dad, but if I did, I would now know what it feels like to disappoint my
Yeah,
dad
Mike was about to
with the
punch
way
somebody.
you looked at me. So for me, that whole experience was wrapped into this emotional couple weeks of pulling out games. Number one, finding a game that I already like, that I bought another game to give me the same feels. And number two, right, figuring out what am I going to do with all this stuff that I have. It's been a highly charged week. So I'm hoping that you folks here, as we open up these phone lines now, we're not even going to wait. We're going to open up the phone lines. Can help us live vicariously through you to talk to us about games. I will report back once I get more. Once I get the expansion, the DLC. They call it the DLC. That's pretty cool. The DLC to Adrenaline, which adds the team play. But then, Rob, this is the cool part that I'm hoping for us.
Fish me back in.
Is it adds a 2-player mode, right? Using the team rules, where it's 3 people versus 3 characters. So we each run 3 characters, and they each get 1 action per round. So it streamlines it makes it faster, and it fills up the board with more shooty stuff.
Okay.
So I hear that's the mode.
I'll give it a shot. I liked
Du jour.
Adrenaline. I didn't love Adrenaline. I liked it. It's very video gamey, very run and gun, battle arena kind of thing. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's all right. Go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead.
I was
I was
Phone
just going
lines
to
are
bring up a quick topic here. By the way, Carlos, what you're drinking out of, the first time you picked that up, I was like, why is he drinking out of a peanut butter jar?
Dope. It's supposed to look like wood grain. Yeah.
But anyway, I got a Jest of Robin Hood, and I think it was last week.
That's the GMT one?
That's the coin one, yeah.
Oh
the
my
GMT
gosh,
coin
I
game.
am so...
Oh, really?
I don't have room for games. Stop talking about games.
I saw your post, your picture that you posted up.
Yeah, so a friend of mine is really interested in playing. It's a 2-player only coin. Supposedly, it's like one of the easier coin games to learn.
Coin
And I was like, all right,
counterinsurgency.
it
just for
sounds
those-
it sounds
yeah.
very cool. Like hidden. Like if you're Robin Hood, it's hidden, so you don't know if you're the Robin Hood character or the Merry Men. Like if you're playing the other side. But I just thought it was kind of funny. I'm like, okay, this is like one of the easier coin games. This is going to be my first foray into playing these. And I look up online, and sure enough, Watch It Played has a video on how to play a Just of Robin Hood.
Rodney is a huge coin fan.
Just
he
started a
is
couple
now,
years
yeah.
ago. Yeah, he just recently found them. Yeah.
So I queued it up, and it's almost an hour long. It's like 58 minutes
Wow.
long or something.
Wait, that's it? Oh, the video.
The video.
I was like, the
teach.
game?
No,
Just
the
to
teach
just
for
how to
it.
play.
And I was like, "Whoa, this is pretty involved here." But
Yeah,
anyway, I thought that was kind of funny, and I am very excited to get it to the table to get it played and see how it all kind of works out.
Yeah, those coin counterinsurgency games are supposed to be pretty complicated. I've never played one.
I have not either.
Other than Root, I guess they consider Root a very light, introductory kind of coin game.
I don't think it's considered light.
Yeah. Not in general gaming, but for coin.
No,
players.
for coin, I don't even
really?
think it's that
I
light.
thought it was like an introductory.
That's why I'm
coin
hoping
level,
I'm hoping for Jests of Robin Hood, because I do want to play a counterinsurgency game. I do like GMT games. However, I know that they're complex, and my brain is old and not malleable anymore. So I'm hoping to hear good things.
The ratings are pretty good on BGG. Now, granted, I think it's only got a few hundred ratings,
Yeah,
maybe, but I think it's in the
new, yeah.
8s, like 8.4 or something like that. But if this one, I figure, most coin games, they kind of, have similar rules, I guess, or similar tactics or whatever. But
I guess
this will kinda-
strategies would be similar
yeah,
across.
it kind of plays into the next one that I just looked on the GMT website that it's in the process of being printed is Red Dust Rebellion, which is another coin game that I've been ever since I lived in Florida. I think I pre-ordered it on GMT. And I'm waiting for
Not
that
Red
one
Dead
to
Redemption?
deliver.
No.
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's the
No, this is
joy
the-
of GMT's P500 system.
P500. Yeah.
It's unlike Kickstarter. There is no did not fulfill. It's always a did not finish yet.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so years from now,
always going. Yeah.
it'll hit that 500, and they're like, "Oh, we hit 500. We're going to charge your card and start making it."
Yeah. Whoops. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This is the first time it's being printed, so I think it's all the pre-orders that are coming in. So I'm sure there's more than 500 that have been pre-ordered at this point. But this is that game that the 3-minute whatever board games in 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah,
the
Dungeon
guy,
and-
he's a
the
Kiwi
review
out in
guy.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
He's been developing this for years, and it looks really cool. So I just get the Total Recall, the Arnold Total Recall feels from it. So
Speaking of GMT and P500, you saw that Richard Garfield now has announced. I saw that on Dice Tower today on their smorgasbord that Richard Garfield is designing a game that is going to be a GMT. It's his first foray with GMT, or his first
nice
intermingling. And so Tom, I think Tom said on the show today, he was like, why would they even P500 this with Richard Garfield's name on it? They're going to sell 500 copies just like in the first day. So, and it was like, well, it's just what they do. You know, they're P500 systems, the way they do games. And so they're going to do it. But yeah, it'll be interesting. It looked kind of dry from what he was showing, a heavy economic game. But,
Sounds like GMT all the way.
Exactly. Yeah, economic strategy game. But so it'd be interesting to see. But Garfield with GMT, I never thought I'd hear those two together. So interesting. Yeah.
And what kind of game is it that he's? You said it's economics.
It's a space-based. It's based in space. They were talking about how boring the board looked because it was just kind of a planet on a big star map, and then the cover is the same thing. It was a planet that was kind of elongated, stretched out, and just on a black star map. And but I understand the art may not be final yet. But it was some kind of resource management, economic, space-based game. I didn't catch all the details. I was actually watching it in the car on my drive over, listening in the car on my drive over to Carlos's tonight. But hey, we got a caller.
Beans and Dice podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Bill from Connecticut.
Hello, Bill from Connecticut. We're talking board games tonight. What do you got going on?
Oh, my friends and I, we're board game enthusiasts, and we kind of get tired of playing in the same old way. So sometimes, we like to do variations and try to mix it up and sort of hack the game a bit to make the old ones a little more interesting.
Yeah, I see there's always forums for people like you listing just all the different ways that they created homebrews of their favorite games.
Yeah. Yeah, like what we do is sometimes, you're playing a game of Monopoly, but like every time you pass go, instead of collecting, $200, you have to name all the ingredients in a sandwich that you've eaten in the past. So how do you think that would affect the strategy of the game, especially if the sandwich includes ingredients that only exist in like past culinary traditions?
I would say the game would first have to have strategy to begin with.
Yeah, Monopoly, maybe not so much.
Monopoly is questionable, so the impact would be nominal at best.
Yeah.
But I'm down for a conversation about sandwiches.
Sometimes we play chess, but like all the pieces they're replaced with miniature versions of like historical figures who you have to periodically deliver impromptu speeches that would influence the mood.
Oh, now you're talking Carlos's language there.
Yeah. So how would you decide which historical figure should be the queen, considering the speeches could alter the course of the game?
7 years ago. Yeah, something like that.
The queen. That's a tough one.
That's over my head.
How about Candyland? If you instead of following the path, you'd have to navigate through like an ever-changing labyrinth where the walls are made of, I don't know, different flavors of jelly. So if like one of the players is colorblind, another one has a like severe aversion to like mayonnaise, how would you determine the winner when the labyrinth keeps shifting based on moves made by the other players?
Now there are games.
Miracle Whip is involved. I'm game.
No. We are done.
None here. No. Mayo, regular mayo all the way.
Listen, it's either Dukes or Miracle Whip. It's one or the other.
Okay, I'm with you on the Dukes.
No Miracle Whip.
Yeah, Dukes is solid, but I've fallen into that Miracle Whip trap.
No.
It's not a trap, man.
It's a trap. That is not the same.
It's a trap.
What about you, Bill? Dukes or Miracle Whip?
I don't know, but how about playing Clue? Instead of solving the murder, you're trying to uncover, who's been replacing all the furniture in the house with like inflatable replicas of the furniture. So if one of the rooms is actually like a portal to an alternate dimension where gravity works sideways, how would you even begin to determine the culprit when the portal distorts all the clues?
I mean, we know it was Colonel Mustard in the library with the candlestick. Like, yeah, we all know that.
Oh, you figured it out. Have a good night, guys.
Appreciate you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Best prank we had in a while.
Yeah. He made an effort. Yeah, he made an effort. Yeah.
Carlos had his hand on the hang up button. I could see him reaching.
He didn't.
Over.
I was actually motioning over there.
He told me to.
I was like, push it, pound it, pound it.
Let it ride.
I don't. You know what? I don't mind calls like that.
Oh no, that's fun.
It didn't go down as
dirty
like,
or
dirty and
vulgar,
get vulgar,
inappropriate.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I appreciate calls like that.
I like talking to
funny.
people.
Yeah. Thanks for calling, Bill. Appreciate it.
I could not find this GMT game you were talking about with Richard Garfield.
Oh, he like I say, just announced. I'll do a quick search here since you gave me a.
Robert, you got to come
I'm
with
gonna keep talking
receipts,
about
man.
that.
You can't just come gossip.
I watched it on the way here in the car. Driving with one eyeball over here and one eyeball over there. Yeah, exactly. So the claims adjuster. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I was going to talk about another game, so I'll look for it in a minute. But one other game, I got to throw out there before I forget. I played Mission Red Planet with my two older kids, the 20-year-old.
You taught me this one.
And the 18-year-old. Yeah, and I still enjoy that quite a bit. It is a fairly light game. There was a little bit of chat in the Discord. I think it was Ashley in the Discord saying that it's not one of her favorite games, but she appreciates the fact that it plays 6 players and that there's not many real...
Yeah, let's quote her well here because what she said to me was profound.
Okay, all right.
Right, so she gave it like a 6.5 as a game. Right, so not a high score. But she then said she keeps it with her for whenever there is 6 players because it is to her the best 6-player game available.
Like a board game instead of like a party game.
Yes.
An actual board game with some strategy, some thought, some rules to it. So
I mean that's accolades for the game. The idea that, you know what, I don't like this game, but dang it, it is good at this exact player count, and for that reason, we keep it with us for game days.
Yeah, we played it 3-player. Both my kids have both played it a couple of times. I don't know if they've ever played it at like a high player count. I think we played it mostly at 3 or 4 around the house.
Yeah, with me and you. And
and I mentioned to them that it is a better game with more players. You got more interaction. There's for those of you who don't know, everybody has the exact same starting hand of cards, 1 through 9. It's one of these cards that you can play cards. They have better powers as the number gets lower. So the 1 card has the most built powers in it. The 9 card basically you just put a guy on a ship and then pick up all of your cards. But it's one of these games, that as you play the cards, they stay on the table and you can't pick them up to do that action again until you play the 9, which is the least powerful card in general. It allows you to do the least during your turn, but then it allows you to collect all your cards, pick them back up, and then you have all your options available to you again. So the real quick short version of it, you're playing cards. There's a countdown every round. You're 9, 8, 7, 6. So as when you call out 9, anybody who played the 9 card puts it down. They get to do whatever's on the card. Then the 8s, then the 7s, then the 6s. So the longer you wait, the more risky it is because what you're trying to do is you're trying to load little astronauts onto these ships on these launching pads. If you wait too long and all the ships fill up with astronauts, all the ships will launch and go to Mars, the red planet that you're trying to get to, which has a area control aspect going on. You're landing on different parts of Mars, and you're trying to vie for resources that are worth victory points at the end of the game. But if all the ships fill up before you can get your astronauts on it, then when it comes time for you to play your 1 or your 2, and if all the ships have launched, you don't get to put any astronauts in anything, and your turn is basically a waste. And so it's a whole press your luck kind of thing because the lower number, the 1, usually allows you to add like 2 guys to a ship and then do something else and then do something else. So it's got all kinds of abilities with it, but you may be out in the cold if you don't play it at the right time. And so the game is cool. There's a little bit of backstabby, screw your neighbor in this game because like one of them is the Saboteur. I think it's the 5 card. And if you play the Saboteur, you get to load 2 guys onto 2 different ships, and then you get to blow up a ship. So so everybody's loaded up on the ship. They think they're going to Phobos or off to the red planet, and then all of a sudden you just blow that sucker up, and all those astronauts go to there you go.
Yes.
Mike with the sound effects tonight. So,
and that's how it feels.
Yeah, it sucks.
So it's got that Citadel's feel, right? Where you're picking these roles that do cool things, and you want to make sure that you're picking the right one at the right time. Mm-hmm. But then it also adds that whole Imhotep piece of how you load the ships and where it's going.
Yeah.
So that whole screw your neighbor kind of feel of, well, I'm going to load the ship with this stuff and we're going to send it over here instead. And I'm like, oh, well, there goes my guys. They're going where I didn't want them to go.
Yep. Now there's a card that allows you just to change. You get to load your people on one ship, and then you get to pick another ship that's loaded with other people's astronauts on it, and you change the destination. You send it to a completely different place than where they thought they were going. So there's this whole thing, and then there's some cards that give you special powers as the game goes along to make it a little bit asymmetric. There's some hidden cards that you tuck under the edges of the board that you get to peek at, that at the end of the game, this area may all of a sudden be worth 0 points, or this area may be worth double points. And so different cards you play allow you to peek at cards. And so there's lots of neat little mechanisms in this one. And I definitely wouldn't say it's my favorite game of all time. It's not going to make my top 25 list, but at higher play counts, 4, 5, 6 players, it plays under an hour usually if people know how to play. And I enjoy it a lot. But I agree what Ashley said is on the nose, that higher player counts, it's an awesome game. And it's definitely not I wouldn't call it a gateway game, but it's, I think, one step up, because there's a few different mechanisms going on, a few different things to think about, but it's not overly complicated. You can teach it quick and easy. I teach it to new players. I've taught it to several new players, and you can teach it in 5 minutes and get playing. So it's a fun one. So I got to play that a couple nights ago with the kids, and we all enjoyed it. We were done in less than an hour and got to go to bed at before 1 a.m. So it was good. Yeah.
Yeah, this
Mission
one's been
Red
on my
Pilot.
list for a little bit. I know it's been on Z Garcia's like top 100 for a number of years, and every time he talks about it, I was like, man, I do want to try it. And I know it's not a heavy game, and you pretty much confirmed my thoughts on that. But
Yeah.
like you said, 6 players for like a Gateway Plus type of game, maybe a Gateway Plus. Definitely one that's on my radar that I want to try out.
Yeah, it's a fun one. You haven't ever played it? Okay. For some reason, I would have assumed we played it enough back in the day that I would have thought most of the people in the group had played it, but maybe not. I know we broke it out at Your Turn a few times and played a couple of max 6-player count games of it. But yeah, it's one definitely I would probably say try before you buy, but I would lean more towards that. I think you'd like it.
All right, cool.
It's a double Bruno game. You got Bruno Cathala and Bruno Feduti.
Feduti, how's that? Okay,
So
cool.
it's both of them. I think FFG at one point was the publisher. I think that's the version that you have, because they redid it. Robert has found the game. Founders of Rayvik.
Rayvik, Reyvick, GMT Games, Richard Garfield, founders of Rayvik. Rayvik, 3 to 5 player economic game of speculation and competition on the newly settled world of Rayvik. That's all that's out there right now for GMT Games, and there's a few pictures of the game and the board. I don't know. Yeah, BGG looks like has a few pictures on there, but yeah, it definitely from what's out there right now. I think Mike Delisio messaged in during the show today and said that he had heard that the artwork and the board and everything weren't final yet, so it looks pretty plain right now. So maybe that's going to change. But again, as Carlos said, GMT, I wouldn't necessarily expect leaps and bounds in the look to change, but it sounds interesting. Richard Garfield, GMT. So yeah,
I don't see any. The only picture I see on the BGG so far is the planet, and maybe one card. So it
Oh, there's I guess it's in the forums. Okay, so in the forums here, Richard Garfield challenges you to found Rayvik, and then there's a post with some pictures of cards.
even more. I'm gonna have to read that whole article. All
Okay,
right, we'll talk
yeah.
more about that next week.
Okay,
When I read more up on that,
we'll cue it up. Yep.
that might be another P500 for me.
There you go. All right.
More new. Okay, phone lines are still open. 813-618-7099. We're counting on you all to make it a call-in show. Talk to us about your gaming. How you been? What have you been playing? I saw our man, famously known for designing Wildlands,
Oh, okay.
also designer of Lincoln.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lincoln is his best known title.
Best known title.
Yeah.
He is coming up with a new game. This one is set in Rome. Ares Games unveils, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Aeterna. Eterna?
Eterna.
It's a game by Martin Wallace.
Martin Wallace. Yeah.
It's going to be a historical themed game coming out, hitting stores November of 2024.
Okay.
So that's nice to see. That's not going to be some Kickstarter we got to wait on. And it talks about players being in charge of a Roman lineage and trying to increase the family's prestige through 3 eras, through the Roman Kingdom, through the Roman Republic, and the Roman Empire. So now we got Martin Wallace diving into some of my favorite themes, which include the Roman Empire. And they're saying it's going to retail for $65, plays in 1 or 2 hours, has to do with getting influence to rule over the 7 hills by helping to build monuments, buildings, supporting conquest, and that players will also have to keep their citizens of their provinces happy. Otherwise, unrest could disrupt their control over the area. So kind of a feed your people type of thing going there. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see how this one hits off with it being our man Martin Wallace in that Roman era.
Yeah.
Era.
Definitely found era.
Did you see that one game that finally delivered from Garphill? The Ezra and
Nehemiah?
Yeah. Any interest in that from you guys? It looks
only
pretty...
for the theme. The theme is the one piece that interests me.
Only for
I kind of figured that, but yeah,
Yeah.
as far as that and gameplay, like what are your thoughts on that as far as wanting to play it? Because I heard it's pretty heavy.
And that's the thing, is I played 2 Shem games. I think Raiders, and then one more. I can't remember it, but I'm Raiders of the North Sea, and there was another North Sea game, I believe. One with boats going around islands.
It was another based. Yeah, we played it at a Dice Tower.
Right, we played it at a Dice Tower.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah.
I found, and I own Viscounts, and I've yet to play it because of the heaviness of his style of games. That whole heavy buy-in, Shipwrights, was it?
I think it was
or Shipwrights. That whole buy-in piece of the iconography and the rule sets I found very heavy, and because I'm not a huge Euro fan, right? The disconnect between the themes and the rules to me don't make it easy to learn the game. I have not put in the effort to learn and play his games.
Gotcha.
Although his settings and his artwork are things that draw me into buying, so I'm more collecting than I am playing them. So it'll end up on my shelf, and I don't know if I'll ever play it.
Collector, Carlos?
Hi, I'm Carlos.
A little bit.
It's been 4 days since I bought a game.
Oh, man. So no interest in purchasing on your side, but if somebody brought it to like a game day, you might look over somebody's shoulder and observe.
Maybe.
I think that one I'll buy. I think that one I'll end up buying on my shelf. I'll need a Rob. I'll need a Rob to teach it. Like, that is not going to be one that I'm going to go through and read the rules and figure out. I'll need someone that knows how to play it. My worry is there won't be.
Yeah.
All right. I understand that.
Yeah, Shipwrights was the one we played. They redid that recently, so we played the original Shipwrights, which was, I think Shim admitted that one was broken. It wasn't his best work, so he redid it. And I think Tom reviewed it not too long ago and said that the new version's better, but it's still not good. So, yeah. So, I know we didn't enjoy it a lot. Yeah, but Shipwrights of the North Sea, yeah. Anyway, I know Tom mentioned today on the news that it was a really slow news month or week this last week. There wasn't a whole lot going on. I know they announced another expansion for, why can't I remember this game? I do this every time. It's the card collection where every set was made different. It's another
Keyforge.
Keyforge.
You do that every time.
Yeah, Keyforge. I can never remember Keyforge for some reason. But yeah, Keyforge, they've announced another set, expansion, series, whatever in the Keyforge universe. So if anybody's still playing
they were
that.
still making stuff for that game.
They went on hiatus for a long time because I guess the algorithm was broken. We talked about that, like a year and a half ago, that the algorithm was broken and they had to stop making it for a long time. But they started back up, I guess, about maybe 6 months ago, and they've cranked it out again. But I'm assuming that it's a lot of the popularity has died off on it, especially with the other games that have come out, Arcana and what's the Star Wars one that's out now. So I would assume that's stolen a lot of the thunder. But anyway, yeah, it sounds like it's still alive.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Aaron Clark comments, Raiders and Architects work for me, but it seems like everything else is just past my complexity sweet spot. I feel that.
Architects is good. I like Architects quite a bit. I've played, I think, pretty much all of them in that series like once. Yeah, I mean, they're all pretty similar. They all have different mechanisms. I put them all on a similar weight level, but yeah, I think Architects is probably my favorite out of all of them.
Daryl says he's still waiting for the Noose
Fjord. Noose Fjord.
Too many consonants together. Big box.
Don't tell Edmund that.
He is in the chat.
He is.
My man Edmund in the chat from Sweden. Sometime this year, hopefully the next couple of months. Is that a Shem thing? The news for Big Box?
Noosefjord Big Box.
I'm not familiar with that.
Noosefjord. I don't think that's Shim. That's the guy who did Caverna. All those. Who is that?
Uwe Rosenberg.
Is it Rosenberg? I think it's a Uwe game. I think.
Yep.
I look it up. Is it? Yeah. Okay. Waiting for the big box sometime this year. Is it? I'm assuming it must be behind. If Daryl's still waiting, Daryl, maybe you'll have to chime in and let us know what's going on with that. But
yeah.
Let's see. In the chat, we've got Ron Frazier saying hello. Chad made a comment about Miniature Market's bubble wrap, that he uses it to line his duvet covers. It's that thick. Let's see. Chester Wilson, speaking of GMT, anybody played Plum Island Horror?
I've heard of it, but I've never played it. I've never actually seen it.
Actually, I've heard good things about this one.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
This one's, I think, Dan Erdzik, my man from Your Turn.
Another one with too many consonants to get.
Has brought it up before. Plum, yep, that's the one that Dan had brought up before. Supposedly, it's a good game.
Yeah,
it's a cooperative play horror style game. GMT is really expanding, and it shows with Richard Garfield heading that way.
Yeah,
they're really going just outside of that horror historical sticking to the historical / wargaming. I think with the competition coming from Osprey Games, that they're starting to really kind of broaden their portfolio.
Okay.
Osprey Games is another historical company who's gotten into gaming, and they're even broadening their.
Yeah, it seems
games.
like they've done more and more. Yeah.
They've got a natural-based game coming out about bears eating salmon. I think that showed up on the
Dice Tower today. Yep, I saw that. Yep.
So they're even going away from the stereotypical historical-based games.
Okay.
Let's see. Aaron Clark says Ghost Galaxy bought Keyforge from FFG.
Oh, there you go.
And I think Ghost Galaxy is actually owned by Richard Garfield. I think he's a part of that group.
Would make sense.
Because I think he bought it back from FFG a few years ago, and it seems happy with it, mostly selling via GameFound and adding cooperative modes.
Cooperative mode. Okay, interesting.
Oh, that actually does sound interesting.
That might be fun.
We had great Keyforge poker nights here.
Oh, yeah,
we call them poker nights, but
the thing
it felt like poker nights. We had like 6 people playing 1v1v1v1.
You bring all your bad decks and or the good decks.
Oh, yes.
They do both ways.
We played. We used to play. Bring the worst deck you have.
Yeah.
And your opponent has to play with it.
Yep.
Those were some fun nights.
Yeah, that was fun.
Like, what garbage did you bring me?
Because some of those pre-printed decks were pretty bad, so they just did not work.
I only think like 1 out of 10 of those decks were actually worthy competition decks. Everything else is hot garbage.
Yeah, if that probably. But yeah, it was a lot of mediocre. Yeah, I would agree. I
know it's going to be a light show tonight. I doubt we're going to go long.
We're done, folks. Good night.
It's first week of summer.
Shut your mouth.
Well, there's more to talk about. There's always more to talk about.
What we got?
I want Ron to call in and talk about all-time wrestling Rumble in Abu Dhabi.
I saw you posted that. Yeah.
He didn't react to it or anything, but
maybe he had
this
a busy
is like
day.
old school wrestling here. So it's got like Sergeant Slaughter and all the like going back in the day, like Junkyard Dog. And
I didn't read it. I saw your post, but I didn't actually click on it and read it.
The art is kind of it's you can definitely tell it's a little more indie, or at least it seems like it. Let me see what the other games are that this guy did. All-Time Wrestling Extreme Edition and All-Time Wrestling, the wrestling card game. So same people.
Gotcha.
But with Ron being into the wrestling scene, I really hope that he calls in and talks about this one, because I know this is probably something right up his alley.
Yeah. And just a quick side note, Wayne is not with us tonight because he is in Japan on family vacation. Yeah, he'd announced that, but he's
not a family vacation.
He's been posting lots of pictures on.
No, he's on a mission.
On a mission?
He's acting as Mike's mule.
The mule mission. Yeah, mule and some board games for Mike. Yeah, from Japan.
Mike, what's the list of Japanese games that you've sent that you pointed him towards?
There's really I only requested 2 games from him. if he happened to see them. And one of them, if he doesn't get it, it's totally fine because I think in the States you can. It's a small card game. It's basically a trick-taking game based around ice cream, which sounds kind of, it's like thematic. But you can get it locally. It's a little bit more money locally, somewhat readily available. But that minnow dice, that one is.
If he doesn't come home with that one, he might as well not come home, right?
I'm sorry?
If he doesn't come home with that one, he might as well not come home.
Yeah, no, he's not allowed back in the States until he has that at customs. So
secured that one.
But he's got a huge list of games that he's looking to bring back. And,
Chester says one mule. I just saw that down there. So one mic, one mule. Yep. There you go.
Nice.
He's been sending some great pictures. Got to stand in front of a White Castle, not the White Castle.
A White,
not the White Castle I enjoy.
Oh yeah, no.
With the sliders, not that one.
Okay,
but like the White Castle, the board game.
Yeah,
a building looked just like it.
Yeah,
he rode the bullet train. I told him he needed to play trains right while on the bullet train.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see any pictures of trains.
Age of Steam or something on there.
Said like 180 miles an hour or something. He posted a video and he's like, I don't know if that video quite gives you the feel. I was like, no, it's just a blur. Yeah. He's like, you got to see stuff flying by you at 180 miles an hour. I guess it's like, yeah, I guess you got to be there. It's one of those kinds of things. But yeah, looks like they're having a great time. He posted pictures today on Facebook of
Mario
him sitting,
Land or something, right?
Oh. Well, I saw he was sitting up on the side of a mountain, drinking a beer in a hammock, looking down over the valley. So that one was pretty cool. So yeah,
the tough life. There.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's what I told him. I was like, it looks like you're having a good time. He's like, oh yeah,
eating Wagyu.
Yeah, Wagyu beef. Yeah, in Wagyu, Japan. Yep, exactly. So he's loving it. So good times.
What are your guys' plans for Dice Tower East? Are you staying there, or are you driving back and forth every day?
Oh, I'm staying. No, not driving back and forth. That's for the birds. I did that for 2 years and never again. Yeah, so yeah, anytime I have the option to stay, I'm definitely staying up there. But yeah, I'm staying. I'm going. Planning to go up early Wednesday morning when they open, and I'll be in line for my badge before they open probably, and then I'll be there till Sunday afternoon, going the whole way. Carlos is actually staying an extra day, right?
I am. We're going to stay through Monday. We did that last year. Mm-hmm. We stayed Sunday night and left Monday, and I really felt that amped up the enjoyment of the con.
Yeah,
that Sunday feeling of having to pack everything Sunday morning
sucks, man.
While stuff is still going on.
Yeah,
and we are now a family of 7.
You got to count. Take your shoes off.
That's a lot of stuff to pack on a Sunday morning, and not get. Last time we got to actually go enjoy. All kinds of stuff just because we didn't have to unpack and leave. Like it felt better. So instead of going early, we're going to stay later. It's my son's birthday week, so we're going to enjoy that on Thursday. But because his professor's a jerk, they have a quiz that he cannot miss scheduled for Friday morning. So he cannot stay Thursday night, which means all his birthday dinner stuff that was planned, which was going to interrupt the show, is getting moved to a lunch.
So now we have show.
So we should have show. So all day Thursday, I'll spend time with the family. We're going to celebrate birthday lunch at the pool. He's turning 21, so I'm hoping to have his first legal drink with him.
Nice.
And after that, send him on his way to Tampa, and hopefully Thursday night we can get a show in.
Now you say legal drink. Are you saying that he's had?
No, he doesn't drink.
Before?
Yeah,
not at all.
He is his mother.
I couldn't care less.
He is his mother's child. He gets mad when I drink. Like if he feels that I'm having one too many, he calls my mom. Well, my wife. How are you letting him do that?
Slip there.
I'm like, he is his mother's son. He keeps me in line. So
okay.
God bless that kid. And he doesn't. I've growing up in a Puerto Rican family, I always grew up tasting things as a kid. Like, always tasted it. Oh, here, have a taste. Have a taste.
Sure.
He's the one that, ooh, that's horrible. Ooh, that's nasty. Ooh, I don't want that. Ooh, no, that smells great.
Is he looking forward to this?
No.
Not at all.
What are you planning on? What is he planning on ordering? This is interesting now. I know it's not game related.
The whole topic.
I don't think there's any plan at all. Like, I just...
Because he can't start with the beer, man. Because that's
gotta go something light, fruity.
I tried.
Something.
And it's weird. He's half Puerto Rican. Hates coconut.
I was saying maybe something coconut.
Hates coconut. So that kills. I like mules.
Mule?
The ginger.
There you go, man.
The ginger beer.
Or a Long Island iced tea or something, maybe?
Oh,
yeah.
Flat out in the pool.
Yeah, we got
60 years old over there? What
Tons
do
of alcohol, but it tastes good.
you- Order a Manhattan while you're at it.
There you go. Why not?
So I think he's going to indulge me by ordering something. I doubt he's going to even get close to finishing any of it. But at least I can have that memory that we shared his first order of a drink.
But Shirley Temple.
He's going to tell the waiter, make it a Shirley Temple.
Exactly.
There you go.
Dad, we shared a drink. Take it all away.
Amazing.
Take that away from you.
But I've got a list going with William. So William and I have a side chat on Discord going, and we've got a list of probably 20 GMT style war games
I know where you'll be.
What?
that we want to get into, like games that him and I are going to play.
You're talking about a Dice Tower East?
Yes.
What a waste of time.
Oh, Williams?
When else will we get to play them?
At home, every day.
Nice, man. That's great that Williams is able to get out of there. How's he
Oh, yeah.
doing, by the way?
He's called me today. Wife went out of town this week, coming back in like a couple weeks. So he's like, "All right, let's get some games in. Let's start getting some prep going for Dice Tower." Here's the list of some of the games we're going to get played: Undaunted, Battle of Britain. We're going to get some Wildlands in, some Command and Colors, some Sekigahara. We're going to have some Revolutionary War games. 878 Vikings is on the list. So it's not all two-player games, right? That's a 2v2. Get some Shogun in there. Get a nice group of 5 in for some Shogun. We got some Quartermaster General on the list. We've got this multiple lists going back and forth on games we want to play. War of the Ring, the card game, so we're going to need some help there because we want to make that a full 4-player game. War of the Ring, the regular War of the Ring game, we're going to get that in.
Good gravy. Are you going to have enough time for all that?
Yeah, not for all that.
No, but we're going to prioritize and go.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
But at the end of the day, when else do you get a chance to play these heavier, longer
You
war
know
games?
what? The more time goes by, the more I realize not too often, unless you're Brian Zeno and it's like every weekend. But other than that, there aren't too many times where I can break out a 3 to 4 hour game, or even 2 to 3 hour game.
Right.
I'm
And
doing
then
it on a
doesn't
weekly
happen too
basis.
often.
I'm doing it on a weekly basis. Frosthaven. We'll hopefully get back with
That doesn't
Dan
count, man.
on
I'm sorry.
Arkham Horror. Yeah.
your boys
I'm
club
kidding, man.
with
I think
you,
it's awesome
you
that
and
you're able to do that.
Yeah.
your boys
That's
club
my
with you and
jealousy
Nick
talking.
doesn't count.
Yeah, me, Mick, and Joe, and then me and Dan, and then actually me and Jim and Alex last night played Underwater Cities, as I mentioned. That took us almost 3 hours, and we were talking last night about setting up a regular, maybe once every other week, game night where we could play a good 2, 3, 4 hour game. So
And William and I are both fathers of kids under 6 months.
okay,
So we're
a little different.
I'm back into another stage of life where 4-hour games are going to be reserved for game days and for cons.
Okay.
Not a regular Tuesday night.
Yeah, love it. 1 a.m. Yes.
Oh gosh, I don't even know if I can stay up that late anymore. I'm like,
Old man,
I'm starting to feel it. It's starting to hit me.
I'm hitting 50 this year. Shut it. If I can do it, you can do it.
Old man. We are we're in talks about setting up a cadence for the show. We've really been enjoying using topics. We've got some segments that we've been doing. I think we're going to get into a cadence now, so kind of a state of the show here as we wrap up the hour. And hopefully we get another phone call in here.
At least one more phone call. Come on, 813-618-7099.
Call in. One of the things that we're going to do is have a show, of course, dedicated to the top 20 board. So we want to do that at the beginning of each month.
Once a month, yep.
Once a month, stick to the top 20. We really enjoyed the topic that Chris gave us for last week's show. I'd like to make that at least twice a month doing a topic. So maybe the second week of the month.
Oh, there's
There
a
we
caller. Ask and you shall receive.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Aaron from Columbus.
Hey, Aaron, how are you?
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Ron.
Good. I got to my first game night in a couple months, at least 2-3 months.
Air
maybe.
horn, Mike,
Nice.
hit it.
So I got,
Yeah,
so I got a couple. We got a couple
here.
played.
There you go.
Yeah, so we started the night off with "It's a Wonderful World," which is always a good
love
time.
that
That's a good one.
It's definitely a
a top 20 game for me, and never really disappoints. So,
Yep.
Yeah, that one was good. And then I got my Kickstarter copy of Skyrise about a month or so ago, and been kind of looking at it and trying to figure it out, and finally got it to the table. And yeah, it's interesting. I'm not ready to give it a strong opinion one way or the other. It just plays so different than a lot of games. The auction, like the spatial auction area control aspect, is just it's not something that is experienced in a lot of games. So when you're playing through it, a lot of the time you're like, am I doing this right? The strategy just feels a little foreign. So at the end of the day, I think it was good. But most of the time you want to feel like you're making smart decisions, and you kind of understand where to go. And there are multiple times in the game where you're like kind of setting other people up for better plays, and you're like, oh, I didn't see that. But,
did you get the deluxe edition?
I got the deluxe minus. I didn't get the wash on the buildings, but I did get the plastic and the deluxe components. So, I mean, it's a beautiful production. Of course, Roxley. I don't know if they've done a game in less.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 5-10 years where it's not great. So everything works great there. It's just I don't know if it's another one that just needs more play and to feel it out. But at the same time, I didn't walk away from it feeling like I got to get this back to the table immediately. We did play it at the full 4 players, which I think added a little bit of time to it, but we still got it done in about an hour and a half. So it's not a long game, but with 4, there's just a little bit more thinking and downtime, and yeah, it was a learning game. So got to give it another try, but probably the just kind of the most unique, different feel of a game experience I've had in quite some time, just because of how different the game is.
Yeah, I know Dice Tower just recently reviewed it. I don't remember what their final outcome on it was, but I remember Z making the comment just like you did that pretty much every game that comes out from them now from Roxley, you can pretty much guarantee it's going to be just a out-of-the-park production. They've done so many good ones in a row that that should never be your worry if you're looking to back something from Roxley Games. But
I think they were in the 7 to 8 range on their score.
Yeah.
Were their scores? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's I mean, I was so close to pulling the trigger on this one. I mean, the table presence alone is, I mean, to me, that's amazing. But I'm still interested in, even after the reviews, I'm still interested in trying this game out and possibly buying it. Because I heard it's a little bit on the lighter side, but that doesn't bother me.
Yeah, it's not a heavy game by any means. I think there's just, like I said, the spatial auction with like you're doing some set collection. There's kind of some common objectives to think about. There's a little bit of kind of asymmetry that they pulled into the game. I mean, after one play, I feel confident in saying it probably is for most people a play before you buy, but. Yeah, I want to give it another try. I think I'd like to try it maybe a 3-player, and I could see that kind of being a sweet spot for it. Plays a little bit faster, but I don't think you're going to lose a lot by not having that 4th person.
Help me understand the spatial auction that you described. How does that work out in the game?
Yeah, so the way when you start the game, you start from kind of the central island, and you place your buildings out, and kind of on the opposites, the underside of these buildings are numbers. I never played the original Metropolis or some. I'm not sure what it's called, but apparently those were just numbered like 1 to 12 or whatever, and you just played those. Well, now they've done some math equation, and every building is numbered differently across the 4 players, so that it apparently is balanced. But the idea is you pick a location to start a bid on, and then each bid after that has to be adjacent to the previous bid. So, and then you could always pass. And so what happens is like, when you start a bid, you don't always know necessarily where that bid's going to kind of go off into. And as the bid, the bid continues and the board starts to fill up with previous bids, you start to create these zones where like people can kind of zone into a corner and just win a bid, right? Like you could put one piece down and win it, or there's no other adjacent spots. So therefore, if I play this piece, no one else is going to be able to, like, there's nowhere else to go. So there's some moments like that. So, you're bidding, maybe 4 or 5 people kind of bid in a row. Some people start to pass, and then someone finally claims it. And so when they claim it, all the other bids come off. You get your buildings back. They flip theirs over, so the number side is no longer showing, and they claimed it. And then they now have that tile, that I guess they're called neighborhoods, I think, or something like that. But there's 4 different colors essentially. So you claimed that color, and now you also get a token, which is kind of many of the tokens are multipliers for the regions that you can control. So you may claim a green territory, but you pick up a white token, which by getting more of those white tokens up to a point is going to multiply your score. So it's just, and then there's some other tokens there that are kind of these secret point objectives, and you can collect a lot of those and the right ones. That's going to be a lot of points. There's some other kind of common objectives, like you want to have island control is what it's called. And so higher buildings are kind of how you create that control. And then so you'll compare across each island.
So you're each not bidding for the same spot. So you're not fighting for the same spot to build in. When someone says, I'm going to build in this green space, then someone will bid in the yellow space next to them, and then someone will bid in the white space next to them, and then whoever wins the bid is the one that ends up being able to retain ownership of where they put their bid?
Yeah, essentially they've either placed the highest, everyone else has passed, or they've placed the highest remaining number, or like I said, in some rare instances, there's parts of the board where if you kind of tail a bid into the right spot, then, look at that. This bid is kind of taking a turn, and now I can just go right here into this corner, and there's nowhere else you can go from there.
Because no one else has an open adjacent spot to place an upside-down building in.
Right. So, and it's our first play, so that happened a lot. There were some moments early in the first, because you play over 2 eras, because you don't have all your buildings in the first era. You get kind of there's a stop point. We do some minimal scoring, and then we do some other things, and then we kind of go into another round of bidding. So, I mean, by the end of the game, though, things are filling up. So, like, it happens quite a bit where, like, you might end up placing into, win a bid by placing into a corner, and then immediately can go place another building on one of the previous spots, because now that one doesn't have any adjacent locations too, right?
And no one can fight you on it.
It's just right. And you do have they have these wonder buildings, which is where some asymmetry comes in the second era. You get access to your wonder, and it comes with a power. These powers are kind of cool and unique. But that wonder, you could place on, like, it's an auto win. Like you could place that. They can't start a bid with the wonder, but you could place that and know that no one else is going to take it. So if there's some spots that you really, really want based on, set collection or the type of areas you're trying to control based on the multiplier, or maybe some secret objective that you have that wonder. But it's really interesting. And then, there's some benefit from being the first one to finish bidding in that second era, to kind of get all your buildings out there. If you're the first one to do that, you're going to get a bonus 10 points. But everyone gets to place all their buildings. So even at the end, like, you can combo some things together, even if you're the last person, that could be really beneficial based on what you might need. So it was interesting, but I felt, I don't know if confused is the right word, but just unsure.
It's a word.
Most of the time I was playing.
It's a word we can use.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, uncertainty with, like, is this a good move? Is this a good move?
And then you feel that pain when the next player is able to get a building without any fight, like just points.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't mind games like that where it takes a few plays to get a strategy going, or to fully understand, wrapping your head around the game. I don't know, maybe that kind of leads to the fact that the game has a little bit more depth than what you might see on the surface.
Yeah, it's definitely more than just, I think a lot of bidding games or auction games like are pretty surface level. I think there's a few that have some more things going on. Like I picked up Raw last year and finally played that, and it's got some things happening there. But I think this is probably even a half a step more complex than Raw, right? There's some more things, and again, maybe it's not even more complex. It's just I don't know. Is there another game doing like spatial bidding like this, like area control bidding? I've not played one, so it's not like any other game. Where like comparing it to, It's a Wonderful World. It's drafting, it's engine building. There's some multi-use card. Like we see those in a lot of games right now. We don't see a ton of what Skyrise is. Not that there are a lot of bidding games anyway, but
yeah. All right. What else did you get played?
Oh. Yeah, it was just those two tonight. That's kind of what we fit in. We typically have about 3 hours by the time everyone gets to. We have a local game store here in Columbus that we typically meet up at, and by the time everyone gets there and then the store closes at 9, we typically only get about 2.5, 3 hours of gaming in. So,
which store are you guys at?
Those were the two. We've been at Beyond the Board up in Dublin for quite some time. I mean, the pandemic kind of has messed up the gaming group here and there. We've had people come and go, and there's a lot of inconsistencies. Everyone, life changes, but that's where sometimes we'll meet up at other people's houses. But for the most part, for Thursday night game night, it's at Beyond the Board in Dublin.
Sweet.
Columbus got a pretty good board game scene. There's a few different locations. So.
Yeah, and my trip to Columbus, we stayed in Dublin. I didn't make it to that one, but I did make it to, I think it was a very large, one of the largest board game stores up there. It's like 2 levels, Rob. It's got, the walls are just covered in old games. It's amazing. I got to remember the name of it. I'll find it.
You've used it.
I don't know that I've been to. Yeah, there's quite a few throughout. I mean, Columbus is growing, and we've got suburbs, and so there's a few different ones. The Guard Towers is where I used to do a lot of buying, but it doesn't sound like the one that you're talking about. Real quick question before I kind of get off and let some other people call in. So I made a purchase on Amazon. It was like 36% off. I know you guys have talked about it, but I want to kind of hear maybe quick thoughts on why this was a good purchase, or maybe why it wasn't a good purchase. But I think the general census is you guys enjoyed Mosaic. So
oh yeah,
I decided to pick up Mosaic, and just maybe quick thoughts on why that's good. Maybe if there are any comparisons to some other games. I'd love to hear it.
Did you get the retail edition or the deluxe?
Yeah, I think it's just the standard retail edition.
Nothing
Smart
wrong with
man.
that.
Smart man. That's the one I recommend.
How much did you pay for it, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I think it was listed at like $70 on Amazon, and they were selling it for $44. So it was like 36% off. So I was like, you know what? I watched some videos. I felt like at $44, maybe it was worth it. I've seen it at some of the game stores, and so
it might be my favorite Civ builder, Civ building board game. I don't know. I know that Carlos won't agree with that. He likes Clash of Cultures way better, probably. But we actually were talking about this last night with Jim and Alex playing. We got onto the topic of Civ builders, and we ran through about 10 different Civ building board games. And Jim and I think, both agreed that we think that may be our favorite Civ builder. Yeah.
It quickly rose the ranks for me for Euro style Civ builders.
Definitely, you're on the Euro side, yeah,
because it isn't authentic to Civ building. The war in the retail box, the war mechanisms are very abstract. It's all about just having some presence there. There isn't really any fighting direct. Some of the cards do it. I'll tell you, my wife loves it. That's one game that we played, I think 3 times in a row one night.
Oh, really?
Like back to back to back. If that says anything, to the point where she allowed me to not allow. We agreed that it was okay to order for, the expansion and the neoprene mat, and I have the retail copy, so it's not like I had the super deluxe. I had the retail copy. We were like, let's expand this thing. It has feels of Terraforming Mars, right, with the tag system.
Yeah.
But it has that area control piece that I really enjoy. The fighting piece is supposed to be fixed or improved. Asymmetry in war is kind of added in this in the new expansion. But if you're just doing the retail box, I think you made a good choice. It is a solid game, probably in my top. It definitely made my top 20 last year.
Yeah.
Is it? Did you play it? You played it this year, right?
Not yet.
Have you? Oh,
I don't think we
okay.
played it. Yeah, I haven't played
this
it
one
year.
has not come out this year, but last year it made my top 20.
Yeah.
And I think it was decently high.
Yeah, I remember you guys talking about it a bit last year. It feels pretty good across like the full spectrum of player count, or is it a little long?
Yes, I've never played it like a 2. Carlos, you played it obviously several times at 2.
Right, because what it does is it compresses the nations that you use. So like you don't use Numidia, you don't use Hispania, Hispaniola. When you're playing at like lower player counts, so it's only some nations, and because of the way the rules are set for movement, it really doesn't impact it because you can. It still counts as one space of movement to go past the nations that you're not using in the game when you're moving your armies. So it just kind of feels like it tightens the world up. But it because it's such a fun game to play. It's one of these Terraforming Mars style games where you're building your own thing with the occasional like incursion, right? So to me, it didn't really change the feel that much. It sped the game up, which was my biggest issue with Mosaic at its full player count. Was it felt like it took too long to get around to me.
Yeah, it can be a 3-hour game, 4-hour game, and yeah, there's a lot of downtime with was it 6 players?
Yeah, so at 2 and 3 players, which my wife and I have played both a lot at 2 and 3 players. I think we played with William. I think we played with you, Rob.
Oh yeah.
It's faster, which allows me to enjoy it and make it a weeknight game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, great. Yeah, sounds like hopefully I can get it to the table sooner rather than later. But what sounds like a pretty good purchase.
I'd say great pickup. Yeah.
For the Amazon price. Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for the time.
The game store that I was talking about is called The Soldiery. It's
I actually I've not been to this one, which is weird. I've heard other people talk about it, but I think it's closer to downtown. So I don't know if you were.
That was my stomping grounds for the most part. Even though we stayed in Dublin, my wife was at a convention at the convention center down there.
Gotcha.
So I spent my time. Was it the King's Rook? There's a game cafe out there in downtown.
It actually went out. Yeah, after kind of right in the middle of the pandemic, they
man
plug on it. Kingmakers. Yeah, we have another one. We have a tabletop cafe, and actually there's another Orcs Forge over in kind of the Dublin Hilliard area. So there's a couple cafes around as well, in addition to 4 or 5 pretty good board game stores.
Yeah, the Soldiery I think was more focused on miniature gaming. It did have a good selection of board games, a lot of new board games too, but they really did focus more on miniatures and card gaming, like old historical stuff. So I had a blast. It is old. Like the inside of the building feels old. It's got like 2 levels inside there, and the walls are just covered in just stuff, just games everywhere, all kinds of games. That was the Soldiery in Columbus, Ohio. I wish I could have gone there during Gaming Con season. That would have been amazing.
Yeah, no, because I have to come up some point and make it to an Origins if you ever can do that.
One of these days.
Road trip.
Yeah, plan to hit them all one of these days. Yeah.
Yep.
Appreciate you, Aaron.
Have a good night. Thanks for calling.
Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, I didn't have too much to add to the Mosaic conversation other than I know I've asked Carlos multiple times, what version do you have? And
oh, yeah.
And this is because my finger was on the trigger of almost buying it multiple times, but it's still on my list, higher up on my list of games that I would like to play.
The miniatures are nice, but they are too similar.
I still like them.
when they're painted, I'm sure you'll be able to tell the difference
Yeah.
between a town,
Yeah.
a manufacturing town, and a farm.
I have to
I gotta
look-
play this again.
I have to look
just
hard.
saying these words.
Yeah. Any game we start talking about that, if you own it, we got to play it again.
Yep.
What did I say at the beginning of the show? Shop your shelves.
Yeah.
Shop your shelves, man. I've been shopping yours tonight. I want that Brian Baru.
Well, I got to get him to play it here before he gets rid of it because I want to play it again.
All right. Well, keep
I don't
in
know if
mind
I-
when you get rid of it.
I like
It is Osprey, though.
I like it. Yeah.
You liked it?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
So we're talking about the cadence of the show and some of the topics. What we plan to do June 6th is going to be our top 20 update. I don't know how May's going to go for top 20 updates. We had some good games played, so that'll be a fun one.
Yeah.
June 16th, it's going to be a topic show. And what I want to do with these topic shows is for you folks who are not watching live, not calling in, the folks that, because we'll get, I don't know, 15, 20 views tonight, but by next week, it's over 100.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so like that's pretty cool knowing that people are watching afterwards. But I want y'all to participate too. So the voicemail is going to be the voicemail bag. Like that's going to be the goals. We provide a topic for you to call in and talk about. We will prime the show with answering that topic, talking about that topic. And my hope is that by that time that we got into that show, you have filled the voicemail bag with your voicemails, like Daryl did last week.
Yes, he did.
When he provided his answer to the question that Chris posed for us. And this
You're
week,
trying to remember it, aren't you?
I know.
Trying to remember last week's question.
This week's question, or June 13th's question,
It's going to be.
is going to be favorite designer, favorite board game designer. So last week we talked about the underrated, which I'm not sure we went high enough with the underrated. We went, I think, 500
500 or more. Yeah.
outside the BGG 500. I felt like there were some really great games in
Chris
that
was starting
500
with
to
the
1,000.
softball. He didn't
Yeah, he
want
wanted
to,
to prime us.
he didn't want to deter us from wanting to do these, topics.
Yeah,
These
going
tough
easy,
shows.
easy on us.
But he provided one in the Discord this week and asked about what our favorite game designer is going to be. So we're going to make that the topic for the 13th of June, that Thursday. And my hope is that you will all fill the voicemail bag with your answers. Just call in during the week when the show's not on. It goes right to voicemail. Nobody answers, I promise. I won't answer the phone. Once I end the show, it goes to voicemail on its own. So just call in, leave a voice message, tell us who your favorite designer is, maybe some games, reasons why. Keep it a minute, 2 minutes, and we will play it on the show and discuss.
I know there's no wrong answers, but we're not talking about the designer of your favorite game. Let's try to pick somebody who you like several of their games. Let's have a few that you can talk about. Right? Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
There's
I
no
already have a
there's
couple
no
in
stupid
my
answer.
In my mind.
Yeah, you already got one in your mind?
I've got
I
a
have
couple
no
in my
idea.
mind,
I gotta go look at a list. I'll tell you, I don't pay a lot of attention to that. I know a lot of people
Neither
do.
do I.
Yeah, a lot of people like I'm only gonna play games by these designers or whatever, and this guy I don't like. But I don't. I'm open minded to just about everything. I don't look at the name on the box until I've played it, and then I might notice after the fact. Oh, that's another one I like by that one. But yeah, it's gonna be kind of hard for me to do. I don't. No particular name jumps to mind. Like I like all their games or whatever. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to go and do some research.
I have found myself gravitating more towards publishers than I have towards designers. Because designers can vary in what they're doing, right? But publishers seem to have a catalog
Style.
They know how to
Right.
pick that fruit.
for
Yeah.
their
That-
people, for
Right.
their
Audience. Mhm.
GMT.
Candasaurus,
For a
Roxley.
while there, FFG. Like FFG was my thing. Like
Oh, yeah.
they put together a great catalog of games. So I get excited more when I see one of my favorite publishers putting out a game before I see something from a designer that I've enjoyed.
Yeah.
But we'll find out more from the folks at home next week. We'll do our top 20. The week after that, June 6th, we will. That's top 20. June 13th, we're going to talk favorite game designers. Get your voicemails in the voicemail bag.
Well, and so every other week we're talking probably some kind of topic show, and we're not necessarily going to make the whole show about it. I know we talked a little bit about maybe an hour of the 2 hours that we talk about our topic. The other hour, again, of course, will just be wide open. Might talk a little news, a little bit of what we've been playing. So maybe we're thinking maybe every other weekish kind of on that kind of thing, or maybe twice a month, once a month again, doing our top 20 boards, getting them updated. Then once a month, we were saying maybe just kind of no particular topics, just kind of.
Well, I want to review games. I want to get back to
Okay.
doing our Give It the Beans.
Yeah.
I've asked Mike if he's got to Give It the Beans for June 20th. I got a thumbs up, that he can do something. So I'm hoping he can talk either Federation,
Do something.
right? So we talk a lot about games, but I also like when we formalize our conversation with the
Kinda do
Beans
a little
format.
deep dives, you know.
Yeah, just a little. And I know that we've done a lot of the Beans lately have been games that we all played, right? Like we all had to play the game to give it to Beans. That way we all had conversation. Well, Mike.
A little bit. Mm.
But my thought is we don't need to have all played the game for one of us to give it to Beans, right? Because Mike's style of gaming is not the same as mine. But I want to hear about games that Mike's enjoying, that Mike's playing, that he's willing to give the Beans on.
And likewise, yeah. And we can bounce questions off of each other, you know.
Sure.
So
that's
I
where we're
agree with
headed.
that. Yep.
All right. So you got a homework assignment. I know you got almost a month now. So come up with something good. Don't disappoint.
Go get some more plays of Federation in,
Yeah.
and then put it in the Beans format.
Well, I don't know if I'll do Federation. I mean, we've talked about Federation multiple times, and it's high up on my list. I'll have a game though. I'll have an interesting game. It won't be anything, lame. Like
Anything us schmoes have ever played? Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay. Looking forward to it.
good.
Outside of that, we've got it's June. Summer is here. Once I get this gaming room organized,
How's that
gonna
Florida temperature going there?
Whew, 97 degrees today.
woo! But not muggy though. Knock on.
Oh, have you been outside?
Oh man, you just screwed yourself now, man.
I don't know. I was outside yesterday. My air conditioner broke, and so
Oh, no.
it's not completely broken. It wasn't keeping up in the heat of the day, and so I had to call the AC guy out 2 days in a row. It was cutting off for like an hour in the afternoon, and so AC guy came out. We were standing outside for 35, 40 minutes while he was fixing the AC. He was sweating. I was sweating. It was gross. Yeah.
Well, I mean, compared to other places, it's high humidity.
Yeah.
But based on the meteorologist, they're saying that it's actually this is dry.
Is it really
for this time of year?
It didn't feel like it.
This
but
is
yeah.
dry.
Okay.
I heard the water in Clearwater was 90 degrees.
Oh, well, like I say, it's been 97, 98.
The water.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. The air temperature's been 97, 98. But yeah, I believe it. It's been hot for a couple weeks now.
Kind of crazy.
Yep.
I won't talk about my weather, but anyway.
Yeah. What are you in the 50s?
Yeah.
No, for real though. What is it in
That's what I
Washington?
figured 50s.
It's
yeah.
been in the 50s.
50s. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
In other geeky goodness, as we get to the bottom of the hour here, I watched the Ghostbusters movie from 2021 with the boy, the youngest boy.
2021. Which one was that?
This is the one that they did the reboot thing with the ladies.
The ladies. Yeah.
right? And that was okay.
Okay.
It was okay.
It was all right.
And
I never saw it.
then the 2021 was kind of like a whole change of angles.
Is that why they brought back some of the old?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I never see that one either.
Enjoyable.
Oh, was it really?
It was really enjoyable.
Okay.
We ended up buying it on Amazon. It was summertime, right? So we're looking for something to do before the kid goes off to summer camp, and we decided we were going to watch some. It's hard to find movies you can watch with young kids nowadays.
Yeah.
But that was one of them, and it's Ghostbusters, but it's the grandchildren of Spangler.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's the grandkids of Spangler. So and it's played by Mike from Stranger Things.
oh yeah.
The Mike actor is in there, and it kind of retouches back on the original villains of Ghostbusters. So like they're back,
Okay.
right? And you kind of get deeper into the story. So I'm not gonna spoil any of it, but I will say that it was a good, fun romp through the 80s kind of feel, kind of bringing them back, and then watching the four come back together.
So from the other perspective, though, has your son seen the old 80s version?
No.
Okay, so what was his opinion of just seeing this?
All right, so he was like not up for this.
Okay.
He was like, I don't want to watch this movie.
Beforehand, yeah.
He's 13. I don't want to watch this movie. It's Ghostbusters. That's stupid. That's 80s. That's stupid. By the
How
end,
dare you?
by the end of the movie, he's laughing it up, like laugh out loud chuckles, jump scares, like good times. Like it was
Okay.
just a fun family night.
So he obviously didn't get the references to the old stuff, but that didn't get in the way. He still enjoyed.
Well, there's a throwback to the Stay Puft
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that kind of comes back.
I've seen that in the ads. But
Yeah.
all the little ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just nonstop giggles the whole time. And,
Gotcha. All right.
so good times.
All right. That's
Which
good.
the reason we watched that version is because Amazon just put out the new one that just is in theaters now. I guess it's set in New York this time.
Okay.
So that's why we was like, okay, let's start with the first one and then we can watch the next one. So that was a fun geeky show for the kids.
Yeah, interesting. I'm watching all kinds of stuff. So I'm in the middle of just tons of shows. Me and the wife are 2 seasons through Yellowstone, or we have like 1 episode left in the 2nd season of Yellowstone. So we binge watched that over the weekend. We watched, I think, 8 episodes between Saturday night and Monday during the day. And so we jumped into that pretty heavy and watched a whole bunch of those. I am almost done with Bodies. That was an 8 series mini series thing, and I'm done with 5 of the 8. So I have 3 more to go on Bodies. Me and my daughter are wrapping up season 3 of The Expanse. Me and my son are wrapping up season 4 of Vikings.
Where do you have all this time?
I don't know.
TV, man.
You say that, but these shows are all old, and I'm watching like just a few episodes here and there. So I'm really not making that much progress. I'm kind of disappointed that I can't wrap some of these things up.
But then you think about his 5 game nights a week on top of that.
There you go. No,
Yeah,
just 2, but two a week. But no. I'm trying to get back to to being busy and doing stuff. I spent way too much time the last couple of months at work, and I'm trying to cut back on that and
Good for you.
starting to let up a little bit. But yeah, I gotta do other things. So
All right, so Bodies you're recommending?
Bodies is good. I don't know the climax of it all
Carlos
right
doesn't
now,
trust
so.
my recommendations for
Yeah,
some
yeah,
reason.
No. I do. You gave me that whole baby reindeer.
Baby Reindeer.
No, I didn't tell you about that. That was Wayne. But
Was
I
that was
agree. My
Wayne.
wife
His
loved
wife had
that
watched
show,
it.
though.
Yeah.
Okay, that must have been it. When you said your wife loved it.
Yeah.
That was like
okay, so my wife has to love it now for you to watch it.
I
There
listen,
you go.
you're
I see how
eclectic,
this
bro.
is.
There you go.
I'm putting Bodies on the watch list.
Bodies should definitely be on the list. I'm telling you, and Severance, man. I'm telling you. Put
That
Severance
Apple
on your
thing,
list.
man. That Apple
So
thing.
Yeah,
what?
I'm not on the Apple thing right now, so
All
I
right,
know
well, when
there's
you swing over to Apple,
yeah.
put Severance on
Hate
your
you,
list.
Steve Jobs.
Yep. We're watching Wrexham, so we are almost done with season 2 of Wrexham. We got, I think, one episode left of season 2. We just caught up on Ghost. We have never talked about that one on the show, but have you ever watched The Ghost? CBS. It's a woman who falls down a flight of, it's a comedy, complete comedy. She falls down a flight of stairs in an old house, and all of a sudden she can see dead
know what
people.
show
She
you're
can see
talking about,
ghosts, and they're funny. They're from all the different, all the way back from I think the oldest ghost is a Viking, Thor the Viking, but then they've got Puritans, they've got British from the Revolution, they've got all these different people who died on this property over the years, and all the way up to the Wall Street guy from the 1980s, the kid who died with no pants on, so he walks around the whole show with a long shirt, a button-up shirt, but just long enough that it doesn't show anything. But they're always making jokes about how, oh, you're that ghost, you're the one who's got no pants on all the time. So it's hilarious. So we've been watching that season 3 of that. They're looking ahead. One of our favorites, Only Murders in the Building. I've
Oh,
been
yeah,
seeing
new
some
season, baby.
Is it coming back yet?
Some commercials about it, the new season coming up. So I haven't caught a date on it yet, but I keep seeing the commercials, so it's got to be coming soon. Looking forward to that. Just too many shows right now I'm in the middle of. But what are you watching, Mike?
The thing I've been watching the most right now has been What We Do in the Shadows.
Okay,
Which is an older British, comedy about vampires that it's got Matt Berry from the IT Crowd, and he's been in a number of other things as well. And it's just, it's kind of raunchy at times, but it's just so damn funny. The stuff that comes out of their mouths, and like the most recent episode, I think we're like in the middle of season 2 right now. And there's like this one vampire that looks like a normal guy, like like balding, and he dresses in normal clothes, and he like sucks energy out of people. But he basically is like the person at work that just talks to you like nonstop, and you're just kind of like, huh.
Drains your energy.
But like he plays it off like he's a vampire and he's sucking your energy out of your body. He really is a vampire, but he just looks like a normal person. And it was like the internet troll one. And it ended up being an actual troll when he went to the place, because it was like, I know it sounds ridiculous, but oh my gosh, dude, the show is so damn funny. If you can appreciate that kind of humor,
I've watched
it's really good.
About half of season 1. Me and my daughter started watching that a year or two ago, and for some reason we got off of it and never got back to it. But we were enjoying it. It was funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
how'd you
pretty
find
good.
that? Like, where does that find you?
Oh, I don't know how you run across that.
I don't know. It's
We
just
saw a
one of those
commercial somewhere,
things.
and it was like, oh, that looks funny. Let's try it. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did try to take your recommendation, Mike, and I think I got through 15 minutes of Battlestar Galactica first episode.
Oh, I haven't started that yet.
What?
You
All
had
right,
mentioned.
well, let me finish what I was talking about. Then we're going to go to you. I was going to say this past weekend, my wife and I we went and saw Furiosa in the theater.
I want to know.
Tell us about that. Yeah. Forget the other stuff.
It was good, man. It was funny because I think I had to work later. We went and saw it, and then I think the following night, Deneen ended up watching Fury Road again, at home. I think because she was curious, because Furiosa literally, it rolls right into the very beginning of Fury Road. And they even have a little montage while the credits are rolling of scenes from Fury Road. So it shows you how much it actually goes right to the end of Fury Road or the beginning of Fury Road. So I think she watched it to kind of get a feel for which one she appreciated more or which one she liked more. From what I can remember, I think there's more action in Fury Road. More cars are involved, more automobiles and way over the top crap in Fury Road. But Furiosa with Hemsworth, his character added a good, it added a fresh twist to the movie. And what you may think of him initially may not be what he actually is trying to do in that whole universe. Less cars, but very cool. There's always crazy car scenes, and just how it went from the beginning of Furiosa's life of being a little girl all the way to her adulthood, and you learn how she became who she is. And very cool, man. I would highly, highly recommend going to see it. I know everybody was saying it kind of bombed on its opening weekend, and maybe because it was, I don't know. I thought Memorial Day weekend would make more people go to the movie theater, but I still recommend it. I mean, if you like Fury Road, you have to go see Furiosa. It's good, man. It's very good.
Okay, Sam's trying to pull us back to board games. She says Thunder Road Vendetta. Yeah. Anyway.
No, I'm excited about Furiosa. Thunder Road or Fury Road was great. I'm looking forward to seeing Helmsworth. And my understanding is he's playing a villain in this one, because I watched an interview that he did where he talked about how much fun he had being able to play a villain this time, as all these years having to play a superhero. And then especially in this world, this post-apocalyptic world in Australia, it sounds like he's had a blast.
In it too. He's very good in it.
And I believe the female actress in it is the Queen's Gambit.
Yes.
The same actor from actress from Queen's Gambit.
I can't remember her name. It's a 3-name name. She uses her middle name or surname or whatever. But yeah,
I don't remember anybody's names for the most part. But I'm excited about this one. I'm sad to hear not as much car action going, but it's understandable.
It doesn't matter, man. The story is so good. It's a great story. Yeah. See it. Trust me.
Nice.
And speaking of this weekend, I saw the articles about this weekend. It wasn't just this movie. It was one of the worst Memorial Day weekends in the box office for everyone. There was something about, maybe it's the economy, maybe it's the movies that were offered. There weren't a lot of great ones, but
no.
I think it was Furiosa and Garfield were
right.
big
Yes, I was checking out the
opening
thing
ones,
because my kids were in Iowa, and I was trying to find things for them to do. I was like, "How about the movie theater?" And I was looking at the movies at the theater. I was like, "No, nothing that y'all would be interested in." So, yeah.
It was an overall bomb for theaters in general. And I believe that what's the big theater? Is it Carmike? AMC. They apparently they were bummed. They put out reports about how they were really hoping this would be the start of their Black getting into the black. This is supposed to be the marker of the movie theaters coming off of Christmas, off of
Summer,
the winter
blockbusters,
and this is when they start turning a profit, and that did not happen, which worries me, right? Because with the change in how people consume,
stay at home.
how much longer? How many theaters do we know that are already closed? And then the ones that are still open, how dilapidated are they?
Yeah,
right. Like
a lot of them are.
Right, like you go to them, they don't feel fresh anymore.
Thing, the rising prices, man. I mean, granted, I live in Seattle, so things are just going to be more expensive here. That's just how it is, nation, average. But like, we were trying to find one with like Dolby Surround. We ended up, the only one that worked out time-wise and location-wise was an IMAX viewing of it. It was like $20 a ticket. And you take that, and then you take, you got to get popcorn, and you got to. I mean, it's for two people. I can't imagine like your family, Carlos. Like, I remember when I had 4 boys at home and going to the movies.
Not happening.
I mean, I used to scam. I used to, when you used to have the tickets that would print out, I would use the receipt as one of the tickets. Like, I mean, it was expensive back then. For 2 people now, it's like.
This is why we're watching Amazon. This is why we're scrolling Amazon. What's on Amazon today?
Exactly.
Right.
I'll pay the $25 to watch it at home
for a month. Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Because like the new Ghostbusters movie, which I think is still in theater, it's like $25. And my understanding is Furiosa is going to be in early June, like early mid June. Furiosa is going to be on Amazon.
Quick to Amazon.
Like that cycle to Amazon
It's getting
to
faster
buy
and faster,
and that is no bueno. For the movie
Not
theaters.
for the theaters, no, yeah.
Well, and a lot of people, they have their home theaters that they've invested in.
That's what I was going to say. People are staying home. You're investing in your surround sound. You're investing in your television. Yep.
I thought I heard a rattle in my subwoofer. I think I might need to have to get it replaced.
Oh, upgrade.
Melissa, if you're watching.
Upgrade.
The theater wasn't packed, but I mean, there were definitely people in the theater, but I will say at least they were respectful. Like, nobody was on their phone. Nobody was talking, because that can 100% ruin the experience. And at least they were probably shutting up, because it was like, shit, if we paid this much for this movie, we better
watch
it. I'm going to enjoy it, damn it.
Yeah.
No, I went a couple weeks ago for work. We all watched one movie, and we talked about it at work. And I went in the daytime, so it was like an $8 ticket for the matinee. Which I was like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to get me a snack. So I go up there and get like a popcorn and soda combo, and it was like $22. And I'm like,
that's where they're making all their money, man. Is concessions.
Yeah.
So anyway, what happened with Battlestar Galactica?
All right, so I started Battlestar Galactica based on the first episode available to me on streaming. And
which hopefully is season 1, episode 1.
Well, that's what it says, but it has like a... in previous episodes, or kind of like it catches you up. It almost starts like as if something had been going on before. I'm trying to remember exactly how they did it, but it's almost like a recap of previous episodes.
It should be a recap of like what happened from like the original space opera up to the present. That's
okay.
It should be.
Because I was confused.
All right, so like, did your episode start with like, they say every year or every 10 years, they meet at this one place, and then what's her name walks in, Trisha Heffer. Okay, that's the first episode.
I stopped. I was like, I'm missing something. Like, this says it's season 1, episode 1. I may not be on the
confused.
No, you're on the right episode, man.
So from there, I went to The Witcher. I'm now.
Sake, man.
It's gonna have to wait now. It's on The Witcher.
Second season. It's on VidAngel, so I'm in second season of The Witcher and really enjoying it.
I tried to watch the first episode, fell asleep.
You fell asleep.
To get through The Witcher on VidAngel.
It was probably like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, I got halfway through Witcher and fell asleep. So my wife finished it, and she's like, "Yeah, I want to keep watching." I was like, "All right, I'm gonna have to go back and watch 1 again," and I never got back to it. So,
I'm in season. I believe there's 3 seasons now. I'm in season 2 of The Witcher. So once I get done with that, I might jump back to Battlestar Galactica.
For crying out loud, man!
It confused me. It was in the middle of the week. I figured I'll ask Mike next time I see him on Thursday.
Funny.
Like, what streaming service should I have gone to? But apparently, I was in the right place.
Sounds like it.
Well, yeah, that's all of it. That's all my geeky goodness. I've been reading. I mean, work has got us. I don't know how Rob has enough time for this second life and third life he's living.
He's making time for it.
Yeah, exactly. You just gotta get it done.
All right, folks. That's gonna get us to the end of this episode, close to a 2-hour episode for y'all. We'll post it up on the podcast for y'all to download and listen to.
Adios.
Next week, we will talk top 20. It'll be the first episode of the month, top 20. The week after that, start getting ready for your favorite designer. We want to hear from you. We want to make it a show about you.
Yeah.
So fill up the voicemail bag.
Got 2 weeks, people. 2 weeks to get your stuff together.
We already got one voicemail in there. Chris jumped in there real quick.
Yeah, he was in there quick.
Nice.
Favorite Game Friday.
Count on Chris.
Favorite Game Friday. Keep an eye on that. We've been contributors for the last 2 or 3 in a row now. So we're going to keep trying, I think, to pump out some content on that. So you can catch us on the Dice Tower Favorite Game Friday. That's every other week, every other Friday. They post that up over at Canada. And I don't know what the topic for the next one is. We'll have to look into that. But anyway.
Check it out, Mike.
Spray wax.
Bam!
What is that?
This is
for your
it's Mother's
board?
California Gold spray wax. So we were talking a couple episodes ago about the Mayday boards and the waxing of the boards. I went and watched some videos of that Canuck guy, that the Tracy boards, is it? The competitor to
Sounds
Mayday
right.
boards?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And he has a video, and I think I shared it in the Discord, of how to polish it, and he had a link in there. It was only like $15, shipped the next day.
Have you polished yet?
It's a lifetime supply right there.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I'm
Exactly.
like, what am I going to do with all this polish?
That will last you forever.
So now in this game room, I got to find a place for Mother's spray wax.
Nice.
But I'm
Under
going to
the
try to
kitchen
polish the
sink.
boards, and I will.
Report back once you've
I
got
will
that done.
report back to see, does this improve the glide and slide of the buttons on the Mayday boards. I know that
imagine it would. I still don't get, for all those people out there that are still on the fence about backing because you're not sure of the quality of it. Just get it.
Do it. Just do it.
I mean,
$100, $99 for a very solid, decent crokinole board.
how many crappy Kickstarter games have you backed that were more than $100? You know,
I feel
this
attacked.
This is guaranteed.
No, this is guaranteed fun.
Slam dunk.
So I'll report back to how easy it was, and did it really improve? Is it worth the $14? Because I think that's the biggest difference between our boards and those high-end $500 boards, is the slide of the puck. And I've never waxed these boards. So
Neither
once
have
I wax this, if it gives me that nice smooth slide, I'm gonna tell you that $100 is wholly worth it.
Well spent.
Yep.
I think that's all I had topic wise. I'm out.
I think
We're
I'm good.
done.
Yeah.
I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
Now, Mike.
And we're the Beans and Dice Podcast, a podcast about
How we game.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
tell your friends about us.
Thumbs up. That cat. Shut that cat up.